This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta love a doubleheader sweep. How about it? The Detroit Tigers put forth an outstanding effort once again in the second part of the doubleheader and earn the 6-2 win over the Baltimore Orioles. Make it a sweep. And welcome into a Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And this is the Locked On Tigers postgame show. Here's what we got on tap. How about a day for Riley Greene? Goes yard in the nightcap with a 3-run bomb. And oh yeah, more Spencer Torkelson offensive production. And the pitching continues to shove. I'll have our talking points, our player of the game, and our turning point. It's all next on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, which is just a reminder that this is your home for all things Detroit Tigers postgame shows, reaction shows, right here on Locked On Tigers, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And shout out to the everydayers that are tuned in to Locked On Tigers and the Locked On Tigers postcast. And on days like today, really the entire season to begin 2025, it's always a blast. The Tigers are 17-10. And oh, by the way, they can't lose at home. 12-3 at Comerica Park. I believe Dan Dickerson said it on the broadcast. It's their best home start in over 50 years. You absolutely got to love that. And as a reminder, that comment box is wide open if you want to get your comments in if you're watching live on the YouTube. And like I said, this is the second half of the doubleheader. We had our first postcast after a Tigers victory earlier today, and we had so much fun we thought we'd do it all over again. Now, Keider Montero started this game for the Detroit Tigers. You know my thoughts on him. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. I know he's got the stuff, but I'd love to see the consistency. And again, tonight it was fine, but just 4 1/3. Gives up just the 1 earned run and did not go the minimal 5 in order to get the win. But again, the story in this game, the defense was excellent. But how about Riley Greene? That's where we begin because, man, does he represent the heart and soul of this team? And when you've got him going yard for a 3-run bomb, it's what we'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
If Riley Greene can start to break out of this slump, and Dan Dickerson said he was slumping, and make no mistake about it, we all could see the struggles at the plate for Riley Greene in the beginning portion of this season. But think of the potential of this team if he's even hitting a little bit to what we know he can do. And today was an example of that. You've got a guy that, just like I said, is the heartbeat of this team. And everybody else around him plays so great when he's playing well. I think he exudes that energy, that positive aura on the rest of his teammates. And you talk about other guys that you're starting to get the best out of. Zach McKinstry is a great example. They're showing his defensive highlights on the postgame show right now. Was he really good again tonight in the late game of the doubleheader? He's on base a couple more times, makes a great throw home. I mean, just does so many things to help this team win. And I think that's why you're seeing this Tigers team off to such a great start. And I know that's pointing out the obvious, but let's be real. The beginning of this season with the injuries and the way, I know it was only one series, but you get swept in Los Angeles and you get punched in the gut a little bit to start the season. And these guys deserve a ton of credit for rolling the sleeves up, saying, let's get to work. And you're getting the most out of the role players that have now all of a sudden been thrust into impact roles and are making more impactful contributions day in and day out. And Zach McKinstry, Riley Greene, Spencer Torkelson, the list goes on of the guys that are helping this team win. Let's open it up for some comments because I know we've got some excited viewers, and why wouldn't we? It's a doubleheader sweep for the Detroit Tigers. Joel Jackson gives us the double W's. Here's Johnny 2.0. Nice. And Braylon Dennis saying, glad we were getting that offense going. Absolutely. Demetrius McNeil, he's an everydayer, says Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson have 5 of the Tigers' 6 RBIs. Did you see the game-ending dunk by Aaron Gordon? I did. Demetrius is always trying to throw me off with other sports news to add on to the postcast. I did. That was absolutely wild. I know that series is now tied at too. But hopefully our Detroit Pistons can tie that series tomorrow at 2 against the New York Knicks. All right, 22 Tantrums, 12-3 is their best home start since 1911. Yes, so well over 50 years. I knew it had been a while. I just didn't know the exact number, so I knew I couldn't get in trouble. I wouldn't be wrong if I said over 50 years, because it technically has been over 50 years. But how about over 100 years? That's incredible. So, yes, I knew that it had been a while since the Tigers started that good at home, but wow, over 100 years. That's amazing. All right, Rufus T. Cat, are we all happy cats? Yes, we are. Brett Sullivan said if they could get I said if they could have a great April and a great May, they would be in good shape. April so far has been good. Absolutely. Great stuff there from everybody tuning in, and I appreciate the contributions to the Locked On Tigers postcast. All right, other notes I wanted to hit on when you look at this game in a nutshell, the bullpen, again, really, really good because they had to be. You got Keider Montero going just the 4 1/3 and giving up the 1 earned run. And then Brant Hurter came in, and yes, he gave up the 1 earned run. And I believe it was Andy Dirks that said on the broadcast, he just didn't look like he had his A-plus stuff. And I would agree with that assessment. I also noted that Chase Lee, we talked about his debut in the only game that the Tigers lost in that series against the San Diego Padres, but he was really good in that debut as well. Gets the 1 strikeout tonight, and then Canley not in a save situation. So he's not going to get credit with the save, but he was good again tonight, just living and dying with that changeup. I love the joke about the pitch com maybe being messed up when he was on the mound, and Andy Dirks said, it doesn't really matter because he's throwing a changeup. And I would agree with that assessment. So Tigers win this one 6-2, the final. They're 17-10. They're 12-3 at home. And this is a fun team to follow. This is a fun start to the month of April. And you've got what an opportunity tomorrow with Tarik Skubal on the mound, a chance to go for a sweep. And you love the matchup on paper because Tarik Skubal, make no mistake about it, you hand him the ball and you say, let's go get this Sunday victory and let's go tack off the sweep of the Baltimore Orioles. All right, we're just getting started on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, so don't even think about going anywhere. When we come back, I want to dive into more of the Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson production because those are the guys that are getting it done. Back in a moment on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscriber, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 2025 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as easily as you stream your favorite TV shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Elevate your game with the latest technology with Wi-Fi 6/6E and auto low latency mode advanced technology. Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother and more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds you need to stay competitive. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and oh so much more. So with that being said, head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. That's Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd gen. But once again, head over to amazon.com/FireTV Locked On. And we cruise along on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. A doubleheader sweep over the Baltimore Orioles. And man, does it feel good, because this Tigers team is squarely in first place in the American League Central. They're playing a tremendous brand of baseball at Comerica Park, and they're getting the production from the guys that mean the most to this team, Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson. Spencer Torkelson with the 2 RBI double again this evening. He now for the season just continues to rake. It's so impressive, his ability to just wash out everything that happened last season and where he is now. It's his 8th double of the season. As far as RBIs, it was number 23 and 24. So how about that? 24 runs batted in just 27 games for Spencer Torkelson. Now, the runs, or the numbers, I should say, for Riley Greene, not going to be as impressive because he has struggled. We know all about that. But for him to get that home run, it just lifted this team and has them ready to go. You got to feel good about that if you're Riley Greene, with 3 RBI on the day, all with one swing of the bat with the home run. All right, I mentioned Zach McKinstry. He was the only Tiger that had a stolen base. He had 2 of them, went to first to third on that. Very impressive stuff. But again, in that portion of the lineup, down towards the bottom, you're getting production with 2 hits and RBI for Zach McKinstry, and 2 more runs from Zach McKinstry as well. Or I beg your pardon. No, not in this game. He had the 2 runs in the first game. Looking at the wrong box score there, but you get the point. Very, very productive from Zach McKinstry. Fire up chips. Good stuff. Okay. Last thing before we continue to talk about this Tigers team, I got to tell you all about the turning point in this one.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Game turned with Riley Greene's 3-run homer. I think that's as predictable of a turning point as you can assess in this one. Bottom of the 3rd, 1-0 Orioles, and Riley Greene says, "Yeah, get out of here." 3-run bomb. Great stuff there. And then you'd also add the 3-run 7th inning for the Tigers. 2 of those runs coming from a Spencer Torkelson double. Now, with that being said, we got to get into our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Riley Greene, player of the game, with the 3 runs batted in, and just overall for the back-to-back games in the doubleheader, he just played tremendous defensively. And, you know, I've said this on record before. Sometimes I get a little nervous with Riley Greene, the way he kind of, he looks like he's in pain often. And he just kind of lumbers sometimes with his running style. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not alone in that, but I kind of gasp every time he's running something down. And in that first game, he had the impressive catch up against the wall where you see the contact in the midsection near the ribs, and you're just holding your breath that everything's fine. And it appears to be so. He just talked on the post-game show about the production that he was able to put forth, and a great job there from Riley Greene. Now, how about a sweep? Doesn't that sound good? Of course it does. The Tigers have a chance to go for the sweep tomorrow. And man, that would be great to see, because with this Tigers pitching matchup tomorrow, you've got Tarik Skubal on the mound. The lefty's 2-2 with the 2.83 ERA. Dean Kremer for the Orioles, 2-3 on the season with the 6.84 ERA. So you've got the advantage on paper. Now on Monday, the Tigers are in the Lone Star State taking on the Astros. The Astros kind of got off to a slow start this year, but they're playing much better baseball as of late. But they have not announced their starters for that game because there's still a sweep to be had. All right. That being said, Zach McKinstry's talking on the post game right now, talking about his big day, and what a tremendous job he's doing. We'll take a few more comments here before we get up on out of here, because I appreciate everybody tuning in to this live Locked On Tigers postcast. All right, IT Hip said, this is the funnest Tigers team I've watched in a long time. Super Bowl Vaughn says, definitely not alone in that. Chase Lee has been on fire. That's from Braylon Dennis. Absolutely, I agree with all of those. And oh, by the way, we had the NFL draft this weekend. You got to feel good about the Lions. Tyreek Williams, first round pick, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, picked an edge rusher today from Boise State, who actually proposed to his now wife or fiance. Sorry about that. That one's tough, but that was a pretty neat moment there. And I'm sure we'll talk, you know, for all of your Lions insight, tune in to Locked On Lions with Matt Derry. We've got Locked On Pistons postcast tomorrow after the playoff game over on Locked On Sports Detroit. So make sure you tune in for that. And again, just as a reminder, once the Pistons season comes to an end this year, the Locked On Sports Detroit page will just morph into all of the team pages. So we've already started that with Locked On Tigers. That's why you're seeing the Locked On Tigers postcast on Locked On Tigers. It'll be that way for the remainder of the season. And then when football season begins, we'll have Locked On Lions postcast right on the Locked On Lions page. And then when basketball season resumes, we'll have Locked On Pistons right back on the Locked On Pistons page. So eliminating that, but still some more playoff games for the Pistons with Locked On Pistons, with Locked On Sports Detroit. So I hope all that made sense. Now, tune in to Locked On Pistons postcast tomorrow after the Pistons game. They take on the Knicks. They're the early game. And of course, Locked On Tigers postcast as they go for the sweep. And how about Brett Sullivan saying, I'll be there tomorrow and I'm fired up. Very good. Enjoy it. There's no better way to spend a Sunday than at Comerica Park. So if you have a chance to go out there, and you know what, maybe I know they're going to be being played at around the same time, Pistons and Tigers tomorrow, but you got game 4 from LCA. I believe it's a 1:00 tip, and indeed it is. Make sure I have that correctly. No, it's noon. All right. Is it noon or is it 1? Somebody help me out there. All time. Okay, yeah, it is. It's 1:00. All right, 1:00 tip for the Pistons, and then for the Tigers, they're at 1:40 tomorrow. So it'll be busy, but that's why we've got the 2 monitor system here for the Locked On Tigers postcast and the Locked On Pistons postcast. But if you're able to go to one or to the other, LCA or Comerica Park, rep those Tigers, rep Detroit, rep those Pistons, and get loud. What a time of the year. It's April in the D. So that's going to do it for me tonight. Tigers get the doubleheader win. How about that, sports fans? You absolutely love to see it. The Tigers are 17-10. They're 12-3 at home. And thanks to the listeners, that's the best start since at home since 1911. So over 100 years. Great stuff there. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow against the Baltimore Orioles with Tarik Skubal on the mound. And don't forget, join the Locked On Tigers postcast. Subscribe and like this video. Send it to a friend as well. And we will see you tomorrow on Locked On Tigers postcast and Locked On Pistons postcast, all part of Locked On Sports Detroit. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you tomorrow.